Hi. I did something a little bit intense this weekend in that I fixated so hard on something. I spent the last couple of days doing some planning for, I'm sure that whatever I title this video will give it away. My name is Kelly. Welcome to my channel. I was posting mostly reading videos, and that has just become too much for me. I haven't been reading as much. It makes me not want to read as much, which is annoying. So I decided I wanted to start doing kind of more fangirly videos, which is what this is. Because at heart, I am a fangirl. Always have been, always will be. I'm still gonna be reading. I'll still probably post reading wrap-ups every so often. But right now, I've just been in a Marvel phase. I've been kind of obsessed, so I want to embrace that. So I've decided, because I've been on a Marvel kick lately, I have decided to rewatch everything. But here's the thing. They have integrated some new IP into the MCU. For example, Deadpool and Wolverine came out last year, and in it was, spoilers, in it were a couple of characters who, from like older movies, and then at the very least we know that Channing Tatum is going to be in Doomsday. I think some of the others are in there. I don't remember the cast. There were so many people announced on that, the director's chair thing for Doomsday. But anyway, basically the point is there are so many different movies and TV shows that are now possibly part of the Marvel canon, and I want to rewatch and watch for the first time all of them. Most of them. Not all of them. I have a list. I have a spreadsheet that we'll talk about in a little bit. I did reference somebody else's spreadsheet to make it. So basically, this video is to introduce the concept of me rewatching everything. The plan is for me to rewatch everything over the next 16 months. Today is August 18th, 2025. It is exactly 16 months until Avengers Doomsday releases on December 18th, 2026. So I have time. You may be thinking, why do you start now? Why not wait? So yes, I have time. However, when I did a breakdown of everything, which I'll show you, in order to watch everything by December 18th, 2026, I already have to watch 8 hours worth of Marvel projects a week, which for me, currently, I'm unemployed. That's nothing. Hopefully I will get a job at some point in the next 16 months. I figured I would start now and I bring y'all along with me because I thought it would be kind of fun. I have watched a lot of the Marvel projects. As far as the MCU goes, I have been following the MCU since Iron Man came out, pretty much 2008-ish. I don't think I went to see it in theaters or anything. I mean, I was like 12, but I did watch it and I never looked back. I have been watching Marvel projects fairly consistently. So I've been in it. I've been in the MCU. I recently got back into it after Thunderbolts came out. I went and saw Thunderbolts in theaters twice. I have not gone to see Fantastic Four First Steps, even though it's been out for a little while. So I saw Thunderbolts and it kind of reignited my MCU obsession, as it did for a lot of people. The amount of Thunderbolts content I see on TikTok now is kind of insane, actually. There is so much of it, but I love seeing it give a resurgence to the MCU in general, as we build up to, of course, Doomsday and Secret Wars. Let's talk about how this is gonna go. Basically, my plan as of now is to film this and go over my spreadsheet, and I made a calendar for what to watch when, which I will walk through that a little bit as well. I'm sorry if you can hear barking. I don't know what the dog is barking at. So let's go over my spreadsheet just briefly. I do want to just disclaimer, I spent 12 hours on this pretty much. Not like 12 hours straight. One day, a full day. I was working on this for a full day in between doing some other, you know, life things that you have to do every day. And I referenced a spreadsheet that I found on Reddit to make my lists. So basically what it is, I have this cover page and then I have a tab for each phase that has the title, release year, whether it's a show or a movie, the runtime in minutes, and then a checkbox for whether or not I have watched it. On the cover page, I have boxes for each phase as well as a total. So it has the total number of movies per phase, total number of show seasons per page. I didn't do total number of shows per page because like in one of the phases, I think phase 3, there's like 3 or 4 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But I didn't do total number of shows. I did total number of show seasons because I didn't want to have to figure out how to make it count each show instead of just by seasons. It's easy to do total number of show seasons because if you go into a phase, the drop down just says show. And that's how I have it, counting it on the cover page. And then it has the total runtime again in minutes, but then I also added runtime in hours just for a bit of an easier breakdown. I do use runtime in minutes for almost everything because it's easier to calculate and it's more reliable to calculate. Runtime in hours, you see it's gonna have decimal points that are just like, what is 121.82 hours? What is 0.82 of an hour? 8%, 80% of an hour, 82% of an hour is like, you know, I prefer looking at it in minutes and then doing the hours. The math is just easier in minutes. You'll see at the bottom, percent watched per phase and then percent watched total. So the way that this works, percent watched per phase is relatively easy. It's just count if I've checked off a box divided by the number of projects in that phase. So you check one off and it'll tell you how many, like what percent of the projects you've watched so far. I do not have this doing it by runtime because it's way more complicated and I was already spending so much time on this spreadsheet that I just didn't do it. I might possibly eventually do it. I might add another row with percent watched by runtime. If I do that while I'm doing this watch through, I will update you guys. I'm really proud of this spreadsheet, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, then the percent watched total is the total percentage that you've watched. And the way that I calculate this is that over on the side of the main cover sheet page, I have a little table that is references. You can't really see that it's there because the text is only one shade darker than the fill of the cells, and that is on purpose. But I needed them there and I didn't feel like making an extra sheet that was like for references. I could have made this a little bit easier. But anyway, we have a cell that counts the total number of things I have checked off as watched, which is a bunch of count-ifs being added up, which is really, really fun to do. And then total number of projects, which is a bunch of count A's being added up. And then the only other reference is the release date of Doomsday because I have this little countdown which will update every day because it's a formula. So it's the release day minus today's date. So that will update every single day and I will have a running countdown, which is nice. It's color coded because that's who I am. So that's why I opened with, I did something a little intense. Okay, so that is my spreadsheet. Let's go into my calendar a little bit. So I made the calendar in Canva and I have it starting tomorrow. I have it starting with me watching Howard the Duck tomorrow. The thing is, the days that I have everything written down on are not like the days set in stone that I have to watch things, but I wanted to make sure that I was watching enough per week, and I planned out to have enough per week that I'm not overloading myself at any point unless I want to, and I'm not doing too little at any point. Like, I want to make sure that it's somewhat even, somewhat of a good pace, and that I will actually finish. I did the math, and I forget how many weeks it was until the release date, but I did the math, and it's about 8 hours a week that I have to watch. So that's 480 minutes. If you were wondering, everything on my calendar is in minutes. Again, the math is just easier. I made it so that I'll start tomorrow. Maybe I'll start today, I don't know, with Howard the Duck, which is not like technically Marvel. That's the thing. These are some of the first ones are what the spreadsheet that I referenced that I found on Reddit calls it phase 0. So it's a bunch of stuff that came out before Iron Man came out and is unrelated and not tied to the like main MCU canon, but could be pulled into it. Howard the Duck, for example, is in, I believe, a Guardians movie for like 2 seconds. It might even be an end credit scene. I don't remember exactly, but I do know that he's in it because other people were like, oh, that's so funny. And I was like, who is he? So my first week, I'm going to be watching Howard the Duck, the Blade trilogy, and the first Daredevil movie. And then the second week, I'll watch the X-Men movies from like the early 2000s and the Hulk from 2003, which I didn't even know existed. I knew about, there's a 2008 Hulk, I believe, the Incredible Hulk. I knew about that one because that does actually tie into the MCU canon, like the main canon, but I didn't know about the 2003 one, I don't think. Also, all of the Spider-Mans are now connected to the main MCU. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are MCU canon Spider-Mans from other universes. So something that I think is important to note is the distribution of like the runtime and everything per phase. Phase 0, which is not an official phase, is only 36 hours. Phase 1, which is an official phase, but also has some extras even added in, like there's a couple of X-Men movies in there, that is only 18 hours. And then phase 2 is 120 hours-ish, 120-ish hours, 13 movies, 8 shows, 8 seasons of shows. And then phase 3 is the longest phase at a whopping 240-hour runtime, 17 movies, 20 show seasons. So back to my calendar. I start off sticking to around 480 minutes, and then I almost immediately start overloading it. In October especially, we get some crazy looking totals for my weeks, including one that is 1,304 minutes. The reason I did this is because it's a lot of shows, and I'm really good at binging a show. I will sit down and I will watch 4 episodes at once. I am good at sitting down and just either locking in or doing something else while I am watching. If it is unrealistic, I'll start pushing stuff and I will redo the calendar a little bit and I'll make it less. So the last thing on my calendar before Doomsday is Spider-Man Brand New Day, the first week of November. And that is 5 weeks before Doomsday comes out. The Doomsday premiere. It's 5 weeks before the Doomsday premiere. I will be going to see it opening weekend, probably just because of this rewatch. I don't know if there are other projects coming out. I didn't really look. I didn't really look up any, but I figure I have so much time. I have over a year. When we get there, I will add the new projects to the calendar. If I have to smush some stuff at the end, I have so much space to do that because I'm watching 1 movie a week. Oh, another thing that I wanted to note is that right now I'm filming with like my nice microphone, filming with my real camera. That will not be the case for a lot of this because it's going to be kind of vloggy. I will probably just be pulling out my phone. I don't even know if you'll be able to tell much of a difference, except for the fact that it will be shaking because my hands are always shaking. So as of now on my calendar, you may have noticed that I have every other week. I have a Purple Monday. That is my plan, is to upload every other week a little check-in. I was originally going to do it based on phases, but as we established, they are so uneven that it wouldn't make sense. And then I wouldn't I wouldn't post anything for months for phase 3. And that just doesn't, then it would be like a giant 3-hour video of, because that's so much content. So I think I'm not going to do it based on what phase I'm at, but just vlogging as I go and editing stuff together every couple of weeks. So we'll see how that goes. that's subject to change. Maybe it'll be less often. Maybe it'll be more often. I realized today also that I have a Letterboxd account. I always forget. I have it. So I will be, as I'm watching stuff, ranking all of the movies on Letterboxd. I'm gonna create an MCU. I already made the list, actually. It's just private for now. Once I have watched at least a few things to rate, I will make it public again. As that gets updated, I will drop my Letterboxd in the description. I'll also be posting on TikTok and Instagram, I'm sure. If you want to follow me those places, please do. If you want to rewatch with me, let me know. I can share the spreadsheet I made so that people can make their own copies and track their own stuff. So let me know if you are also planning on rewatching Marvel movies before Doomsday comes out. If you have watched a lot of these movies, if you're a big Marvel fan, what's your favorite? What's your favorite movie or show? Who's your favorite character? Mine is... God, growing up, mine was Natasha always. It might be Sam Wilson now. It's probably Sam Wilson now. The only Marvel merch I have is Sam Wilson. Thank you for watching. I'm excited to go on this journey, even if I am posting for myself and myself only, but I hope some of you will enjoy watching these through me or will use it as motivation to start doing a rewatch yourself. And if you do, please let me know and have an amazing day. I love you. Bye.